welcome back to Nothing But Lip. I'm your host on this episode number 4. We've made it so far. Let's keep it rolling. I'm with EVG, Aaron Lakia, and this episode we're talking about 69 days to golf. Real golf, not simulator golf, not fake golf, real golf, at least up in Illinois. Ellis and I are Northern Illinois. Aaron already starting the season down and
2 rounds
already,
in,
and
so.
he's shooting under par already. It's unreal.
Yeah.
So this one's, this time of year is when we start getting stir crazy and ready to go. So I'm going to let Ellis start it off. EVG, what are you looking for this year?
Well, just getting outside would be nice. And 69 days till April 1st. However, we typically get a March round in. So if you think about it like that, we're only a couple of months out, maybe less.
If I remember right, last year, February 19th, the 4 of us got out, 65-mile-an-hour wind. The most brutal golf, but it was 55, and to us, that felt phenomenal. 2-man scramble, and I think we all shot 100. So, yeah. But it's great. So you got places lined up to play this year. Which ones are you looking forward to?
Well, I was thinking about that, realistically and then unrealistically. I'll start with unrealistically. Bandon Dunes, I've never played, out there, and obviously they dominate the top 10. So I think it's unrealistic to put it on the list for this year, but you never know. Maybe we'll find ourselves there. But that would be my probably bucket list over anywhere else in the U.S.
Paradise, man, from what I understand. Golfing paradise.
For those listening, all 2 of you, hi, Mom. We've done Pinehurst. We've done Kiowa. We've done some Florida swings. God, we'll have to talk about that on a podcast. Probably the trip not to take is what we'll call that episode in Tampa, Florida. But yeah, we'll save that. There was almost divorces and debt. So yeah, I think Bandon is unrealistic, but that's top of my list. Realistically, I'm excited to go back down to Lakia, down to Alabama, and play some more RTJ courses.
Yeah, such a beautiful area. So many good options and such a variety of challenge, especially down by you. I mean, you can speak to it, Lakia. What are you looking at playing both at home and away?
Obviously the RTG courses, this year, I think it's it's really an advantage being in Alabama for those courses. As you guys have played them, they just don't play traditional links or parks courses right up north, your parks courses. They might have the trees, but I think the thing that stands out for RTJs is when you miss the green, right? You fall 30 yards down into a hole, right? And it's brutal. Yeah. But so I think that keeps me sharp, right? The courses are tough and they're, price wise they're good to play. I haven't played the Shoals yet. It's up in the I guess northern side, northwest side of Alabama. I haven't played there. It's supposed to be gorgeous. So I'd like to get that bucket.
Is that an RTJ course?
Yeah, it is. It's one of the only ones you guys haven't played either. So it's a little bit outside the normal weekend drive. It's 2.5, something like that. So it's it's tough to do.
How many RTJ courses are there?
I think there's 18, but don't quote me on it. So
that's just in Alabama, or that's his whole scope?
Just Alabama. Yeah. And
great.
And really, honestly, they're all phenomenal. I mean,
I know the ones that we've played, when to speak to what you're saying as far as keeping you sharp, and this may be a conversation for another day, but all handicaps aren't created the same.
No.
When we go out, my handicap may be low, but we play in courses in Northern Illinois. They're flat, they're treed. You can some courses you can spray it 60 yards to the right, and you're just hitting off the other fairway, right? And you're shooting a par on the hole. In reality, you would be dropping in a lot of other places. So that's key to stay sharp and make good decisions. Yeah. And that's what you got to do down there, at least on the few that I played.
And I think you speak to it right too. Like there's a lot of the RTG courses do a nice job of protecting the course in ways besides traditional, like, with trees and whatever bunkers. There's so many ridges and fall off points, and I think it forces you to play like how the course was kind of designed. So there's a lot of, I would say, non-driver holes and, things that you have to be cautious about. Whereas like when you do the parks, like, I just up north, I never felt like, it's very rare. I felt like I couldn't attack a hole. And down here, like there are definitely holes that you're like, okay, yeah, like there's water on the right? There's a huge cliff on the left, like, and if I miss the green, 5 feet left of this pin, like it's going to go all the way down 60 yards and I'm not even going to want to walk down there and get it. Like that's that's the kind of stuff. But, so, there's that, things that I would like to, I would really, this year when I come up there to visit in the summertime, I'd like to get back to, I want to play the new course there at, Mammoth
the Lido?
The Lido, yeah.
High remarks on pretty much every list I've seen, and
that's on the list.
It's pretty impressive compared to all these other courses are sometimes on cliffs and all these different sceneries. That's just in the middle of a sand-filled area.
Pine trees, right?
Pine trees.
They really make it look nice.
It makes it difficult to differentiate itself from the other ones that are built like that. And it seems like they have, which is awesome. And to speak to that, to add one to your list, if you make it up there, last year, Ellis and I tried out, Lakia is a very unknown course up in our area. In Wisconsin, it's so crowded with Sand Valley, Whistling Straits, and Black Wolf Run, and that whole complex there. Lasonia Links is nationally known. Erin Hill nationally known. Century World. So you got all these places in Wisconsin that are public courses, great places, and that's one we played last year, and they just remodeled it 2 years ago, and it's fun. It's got its quirks, but if it's one that's one on my list, I know that I want to get up to again. The last time we played it, we were carrying bags. Brandon and I threw our bags out 5 days beforehand, so we're swinging tight. But it's one that anybody listening, put it on your list because it's a blast. Yeah. So and hopefully you can make it up here too. What other courses you wanna play when you get up there?
I if this could happen again, this is like bucket stuff. Like, I'd really like to do another long weekend on the east side of Lake Michigan, catch American Dunes again, catch Arcadia Bluffs. You guys didn't get to play Bay Harbor, I don't think. Have you guys played Bay Harbor? It's right there in that same little mix, and it's a great course. And, maybe even pick up Eagle Eye there in Lansing or something. That's another links course. At one time, they were ranked quite well. I don't know where they sit now, but it was a pretty nice course when I played it years ago. But, we played American Dudes, and, I mean, I was not in good shape.
The last day of the golf trip is always a mess. If you're playing a nice course, put it at the beginning, because on day 4, day 5,
it was brutal. I mean, it was cold, windy. I think Ellis shot the life of his round, like the round of his life, maybe.
I think I might have had a couple
doesn't even
holes.
remember it.
Yeah, there's a few holes that were pretty tighty. But outside of that, it's a bit of a blur.
I mean, the conditions weren't ideal, right? It was super windy, cold. I think we caught some
physically,
sun, but,
mentally.
Yeah. But so I'd like to play that.
Agree.
Little bit more strict, better in my game side, and then obviously I don't think we played the other 18 Arcadia that's open now. So that's another opportunity.
Didn't you play the other 18?
No. So like the first time we did Arcadia was with us, and it went dark on hole 9.
Yeah.
And people in front of us were playing glow-in-the-dark balls, and we were just hitting balls and losing them. So I went out and played that one again, because the first 3 holes, it was so foggy that we couldn't see. I couldn't see guys walking on the green on the par 3 in front of us. So it's a course that you really want to experience in some good weather. I mean, it's fun in any climate, but it's such a beautiful place.
It's crazy. I've tried playing it 3 times, and every time it's been like sideways
like rained out.
Yeah, every time. And so I think I haven't tried going in August though. That's really the time to go. As you guys know, like August up in the Midwest is phenomenal, particularly for golf. So I think it's a drier season there, particularly right there on the coast there. So I think sometime in that, listen, you don't want to be in Alabama in August, so maybe I just come up there. So
yeah, the rates up here, pricey.
Yeah.
Rates in Bama, they're like, just go out and play. It's all good.
Just don't even, like, we don't even care. Just So, but yeah, that's honestly in about, I'd say a month, it's going to be really busy for golf here in Alabama. That's when the packages start, right? That's when everyone starts coming down here for trips. End
That's
February.
crazy.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, on my wish list is, 2 things. One, my wife and I go to Michigan every year, hoping to either hit Arcadia or American Dunes as well. And then hopefully all of us can get together down in Alabama. Talking about those RTJ courses, you've played them a lot, but the Judge is what we were talking before where we came on, just one of the most extreme, intense courses where you just have to hit every shot the right way. And sometimes it's fun to test yourself. I don't think I'd want to do it 2 days in a row. I can't speak for everybody, but just that one day to try to test your mental fortitude and get after it. So.
I think intense is the right word. Like, I mean, we've all played really hard courses, okay? But the thing that kind of feels when you kind of are in that round is it's just intense all the time. Like, every shot you hit has some kind of penalty that's really just in your face. And then you think you hit a good one and it's, it won't stop on the green, or you miss it by a foot and it's like rolling down. It's that kind of thing. And then you walk off. 18 is no breeze. I mean, it's uphill. It's got 2 creeks. It's got an elevated green that's to the right, like 40 yards. And then on top, so you're hitting to an elevated green. You don't even know what it's like up there, right? If you've never played it. You hit it, you think it's a great shot, and you get up there and there's like a double tier and it's sloped. And if you're above the pin, if you just tap it, it will roll off the green into the creek.
Into the creek, yep.
And it's just like, and so you get off, and this is how I feel like when I get off there. Like, I've had some decent rounds, I've had some really poor rounds, but it doesn't matter. You put the card away and you're like, I'm just like, my mind is just tired, like, it's like an exhausting, just brutal mental.
Piggybacking off that, here's a question. Alice, I'll let you answer first. What's more depressing on a golf round? Hitting a shot, watching it all the way, hit the green, trickle, and roll off into something, right? Or blind shot, like you're talking on 18, where you hit it and you go, hell yeah, that's close. So you get up there and you can't find it anywhere and it rolled up.
Yeah, probably.
Is it worse watching it, or is it worse not knowing? And then
I think it's worse not knowing. Because if you screw it up, like, it's like, okay, like, at least you can blame yourself, or at least blame somebody else. But like, when you get up there and it's just like gone, and you're like, it's like, now you have like no one to blame, So it's
you don't even know where to look. And there's always a part of you that goes, check the flag.
It's in the hole.
That's the last ditch effort.
Yeah. It's never there.
Never there. Alice, you're the same way, aren't you? If you want to see, you want to take that anger in on the tee, on the iron shot,
because you have the next like 2 or 3 or 4 minutes to like kind of like process and get over it. But yeah, when you drive up going, should be here, and that goes for off the tee too. You hit like a great drive, you pick up the tee, then you get up there, and then your buddy goes like, told you it was OB. Like, that was right down the middle of the fairway. Like, how is I actually just looked up a course that we play a lot here is a course called Prairie View in Byron, and the rating of that course is 137, I believe, from the blacks.
So that includes like slope and all that stuff.
No,
right?
I mean, the slope's another number, but just for like, whatever, it's 137. The Judge is 148. So I mean,
Well,
it's
Yeah.
a couple ticks,
Couple
on
ticks
the
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
frustrating
Yeah,
meter.
absolutely. So, well, let's shift gears a little bit. Obviously, we're talking about where we want to go, but what are we doing different to to improve this year? Let's start with changes to the gear. I know, Lakia, you were excited. You got some new
Yeah,
tools.
that's
I know
right.
you get new tools every year, but it seems
Yeah.
like this year it's a different level. Tell us about it.
This one, this year I was able to get early access to the QI35s from the tour van, which is it's been a nice connection for me. And
Jeez, I'd say.
yeah, so far I just love them. I think they feel and sound a lot like the QI10, but again, and I'm not sponsored or anything, right? I just some random guy that gets clubs, and they feel a little tighter, but distance wise, it's like 50 degrees, right? I'm not trying to put it on the GC quad or anything, but the couple rounds I've played them, they feel pretty good. They feel good. So
Yeah,
I think,
tell us. I'm not real knowledgeable on them, but you were explaining the face and
yeah,
the differences on maybe what you get at Dick's Sporting Goods versus the one you got. So
Yeah.
explain
yeah.
that a little bit and tell us
So
why you're excited about that.
it's when the pros talk about the Rory and those guys say that we get clubs that the consumer doesn't get. Like they're being honest. If you think about manufacturing in general, there's probably a 0.1% of all products that are made that are essentially perfect, like near perfect. And same goes for golf clubs. The pros really get, if you had thousands of clubs, probably 10 of them make it to the pros. The rest of them come to us schmucks, and
No
and
wonder.
so the tour van is maybe the top, instead of the top 10 that go to Rory and Tiger, the top 100 make it to the tour van. And the tour van is just another way for, maybe Corn Ferry people, things that are, people that have some access to some more elite people that are golf, professionals. They can get clubs with certain specs. And so those specs essentially, like some players like Morikawa, he may want a more neutral faced driver, and there are tolerances that essentially the consumers don't get to see. One of those is the CG, and so there's certain ratings that essentially a trampoline effect that that the clubs can have, and so at the end of the day, the tour van, they're usually a lot better than what the consumer can get. And
We
so
need to
it's
test these. You need to get
we
the
need to.
testing machine.
I
That'd
think
be
one of the
hilarious.
I think in a year or so when we do our little podcast, I might even just bring it on, and we can test
A
all the
live
drivers,
testing.
live
Heck yeah.
testing, right, and see what's going on. But again, this is kind of from what I've been told. There's I would say about a 10-yard difference from the consumer to a pro head that you can get out of the van.
Yeah, and that's a big difference whenever you're talking. I mean, that's a lot of times one club difference, which for doing the same thing, right? It's not a game improvement. You don't have to lift weights. You don't have to do anything. It's just something you get out of the box, and
And
you
that's
can
why
get a
the
little further.
pros, if you think about it, that's 10 yards for us at 115 miles an hour swing speed, right? And for the pros, it's maybe 20 yards, right? And so that coefficient continues to grow the faster you swing it, right? So honestly, that's probably why they put the trampoline effect in, the top limit in there in first place. But so it's exciting to hit those this year. I do think both fairways I have, they feel like they have a slight draw bias, which is really strange because the face degree that's actually listed on the driver is slightly open. So we'll see. A lot of the other reviews coming from like Rick Shields and stuff are saying the same. They seem to be draw bias. Now whether that's by design or not. And we'll see what the reviews show this year. But I think it's going to be another great product line for TaylorMade, to be honest.
And listen, that's the thing you can tell a difference between somebody that's scratch and 15,
Yeah.
You're talking about a draw bias. Well, hell, one of mine goes right, one of mine goes left in the next swing. So it's hard to get a consistent feel of, hey, where's this one going? I don't know. It depends on the swing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
and I would say I have a natural draw too, right? And so I can just kind of feel, I can get a fade out of it. Maybe not as good as Ellis can, but these ones I really have to try to not, put any draw on there to really get the ball I want. So, so we'll see. Yeah, but they've been good. So I think the only other thing that I'd really like to do this year is a lab putter. I consider myself a decent putter. And I think you have to be to be scratch.
Good things.
Yeah, and I've had a couple Scotties. I even had a Koepka replica one time. I gamed, and ever since I switched to that mallet putter at Prairie View, I don't know if you guys remember, I went lights out there, and I've kind of been playing it since. So anyways, there was Warren. You had said something about the lab putter earlier this year, and then I played with a pro from Ross Bridge at RTJ who had one, and I got to play around with on the green, and it really rolls good.
They look ridiculous.
They do. Yeah. It takes a little bit getting used to, for sure, but I mean, when all these putters have been so similar for years, and now you're seeing it in an amateur game, but you're also starting to see, I think I saw, maybe was it Ricky Fowler the other day?
Mm-hmm. He just
switching into that. So I mean,
wow, I guess I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
You're even seeing some pros kind of itching towards it, so that obviously there's got to be something to it.
I really think the center shaft has some kind of advantage. Okay, on the putter head. But the one that I got to play around with had a graphite shaft, and it was supposed to be some fancy, I don't know much about that technology right now, but I noticed that the head felt really heavy, which I liked, and then, which is probably because of the swing weight. I don't think the head's heavy; it's just the graphite's light. But the response I got back from putting it was night and day compared to the steel shaft mallet I have now. It really felt like I hit the center face of the putter. And when I didn't hit the center face of the putter, it really had that feedback in my hands. And I thought that was really neat, because I do think this year, so I guess where I'm going with this is I'd like to become a better lag putter. I think I would say average or better at, 8-footers, 10-footers, even 12-footers. I feel like I walk up there and I think I can make them, right? That's how I'm walking up there. I think I'm going to make this every time. But when I get outside of that, I kind of lose. I'm kind of timid, because I think my lag putting isn't as good as the rest of my game. And so I get worried I'm either going to be long or short. And so that would be my next goal this year is to spend some time trying to dial in lag putting and get a little better at 2-putts.
It's definitely going to improve the game. Everything you read, that's one of the biggest things to work on to lower scores. Stop the 3-putts.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do. It's painful to leave something short, so you're always nervous about that, and then you blow it 10 feet past, and it's miserable.
And it was so crazy about it too. Is when I'm playing well, right? I'm hitting greens and I'm inside that 15 feet. That's really when I feel like I can score. But when I'm not playing well, I'm not inside that range, and I'm now taking these long 20-footers, 30-footers, right? And I'm trying to scramble to hold the round together. And then on top of that, right, my lag putting isn't really where it's supposed to be. And so that's why I feel like if I look at my scores from last year, I had some really low scores, and I was on a pretty good streak for a while there. But then I don't have a lot of scores in the upper 70s. And then I just jumps into I had a couple 80s in there, right? So it's it just feels like when it was bad, it was bad.
When it's bad, it's bad.
And so I think that's, for me, is kind of where I'd like to maybe hold things together, right? When I'm not playing well, it's, maybe my lag putting can hold me up. So
yeah. Alice, what about you? Changes this year? Anything new in play? Swing, clubs, what you got?
Oh, I rebuild it every off season. That's my favorite thing. Just the swing, the clubs, the
Yeah.
mentality. This
Sound like
year,
Tiger now. It's
Yeah.
always a new swing and a new tweak.
I
Do
don't have
some
back
training
surgeries,
with
though.
the SEALs.
That's a good idea. I went through and just like marked, and I would like for anyone listening, I think it's super helpful every once in a blue moon. Take your notes app on your phone and list your yardages, starting with your driver all the way down to, I guess, your putter if you wanted to, right? And I noticed that I didn't have a good club that I felt confident hitting like 220. I have a driving iron, like a 3-iron, that I just stopped hitting well. I got it for Pinehurst. It worked for like a season, and then doesn't work. So I'm actually kind of in the market for a hybrid, which I haven't played in years.
Yeah, you hit mine a few times last year, and confidence is key on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think hybrids weren't like cool anymore. Like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I felt it was like cool to have a driving iron or not hit hybrids in woods, and now it is. So I'm going to be adding a hybrid, and then my wedges are stacked incorrectly. I've got a 60 degree, and then a 54. But I'm going to put a 52 in the bag and probably go down to a 56. So I'll have 52, 56, and a 60.
So
Yeah, it's
So
hard
why
to
a
have those
hybrid?
big gaps in yardages, So, but anyways, to Aaron's question, go ahead.
Well, two things. I feel like the hybrid thing went away because people felt like maybe the shaft wasn't up to technical standards to keep from the toe from turning over. That's kind of how I felt years ago. But nowadays the shafts are so good that when you hit those hybrids, they're not really wiggling around as much. But the reason I was asking whether hybrid or not is a lot of the pros are dropping their hybrids for 7-woods, and that might be an idea too.
So how far does the normal like 7-wood go?
Well, I mean, so I don't know. Your 3-wood probably goes what, 260?
No, probably like 240. 240 to
So maybe
250. That's why I want like a 220 club.
So maybe it's a 5-wood for you. So I put a 5-wood in the bag this year too, and it's kind of like my 240 club. And
I don't think I hit woods. I don't really hit my woods very good. Like Warren, you hit your 3-wood good, right?
Yeah, love 3-wood. I get a lot of consistent swing out of it. And, the difference between, and I think to your point is why people are switching that is the height that you can get on the woods is just crazy good, right? So if you're hitting a 5-iron, it's having a hard time to hold a green. So you got a pin that's tucked behind a pot bunker or whatever. That's one of the few clubs that you can lift, and it just should drop and almost, if it's a fairly soft green, it's going to stop right away. If it's a hard green, it's probably going to roll out a little bit. But I think that's why a lot, and, there's 5-woods. I've seen 7-woods. I think I've seen 9-woods. Hell, my friend down in Missouri, I think he's got an 11-wood. Probably, I think it was from like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
He's got whole stacks of woods, and he hits every one of them and loves it. So
I don't know.
it's something to try, especially if you're confident with a 3-wood hand. Try those out. They're
I think
amazing.
the 7 and the 3-wood, or I mean the 5 and the 7 are easier to work than a hybrid. Just from what I've seen recently, and I would agree with you. When I've seen you hit, and I think the same thing. Like when I hit a hybrid, right? I get it 240. It's low though. There's some spin on it, but if I really wanted to attack a green at 240, 230, 220 instead of pulling a long iron, I feel like the 5 or 7 would create that more like high loft drop, and it'd be hard, I think, to hold a green with a hybrid, so good.
Yeah, it's definitely unique, and I think everybody's game is different. And to your point, Alice, when you're talking about having that driving iron and loving it, all of a sudden kind of falling out of favor. Like everybody's got confidence in a certain club, right? In my bag, I can grab a 3-wood, and I feel like I can hit it consistently 230 to 240, pretty much straight down the middle. I grab that hybrid. I might hit it once 220, dog hook, the next one 190 with a flail out, right? Like there's just no confidence there. And that's just from repetition. And to woods to you, I mean, it seems like that's where you've been for years.
I like what you said about the yardages though on the app or writing them down. I think it's so important, for people to establish something that they're comfortable with. at one time I don't know if you remember, we used to go to the range and do like, we'd have 3 clubs, we could get 80 yards. Like, we would like choke down on a 56 and we would have like a, we're like, oh, look we can get a 60 at 80 yards, a 56 to 80 yards, and I think that, as I've gotten, better, I've realized that like, I just need one go-to 80-yard shot. Like, I really just, we're not playing enough courses that, maybe a select few where you really get yourself in a position where you have to hit some low stinger or something and bump and run it off. Like it's just, get yourself something that you're comfortable with, you can repeat, right? It's not 100% shot, but it's not a 50% shot, right? It's like a 90 fluid swing and you got a number out of it, and so I really think, and you got to adjust it through the year, honestly. So, but
I think that's one aspect of my game. Obviously, Aaron's great at breaking down swings, so he's giving me some tips. And I think the biggest leap that you can make if you're somebody that's 15 to 20 to 25 handicap, to try to make that leap to a 7 or an 8 or single digits, it's just finding one consistent swing. Like a lot of people try to learn how to hit a draw, then how to hit a fade, and then how to hit a stinger, and they're trying to get all these different swings. I mean, if you can get one reliable swing out there, even if it's not perfect for the course, we play a lot of courses around here where it's all draws is what plays well, right? Well, even if it's a course like that, you got to have some way to just be able to hit a ball that is going to be in play, and a general idea. Obviously, you're never going to hit a perfect shot every time, but that's the goal this year, is making those changes and consistency in that one swing, and to try to drive it down, and always have a good day. Don't have that day where you're shooting 116. That's a rough route. Nobody's been there. I've been there.
Once you get that, it can kind of feel boring. Like, I think I've told you this before, like after you get something that's repeatable, sometimes you can kind of like feel like, like you walk off the course, like I was kind of like ho-hum. Like I didn't play well, I didn't have a bad day, but like it was just kind of like, okay, like, but we didn't lose 20 balls, so.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I find that boring. I'll let you know.
Yeah. But no, I
think point, trying to make that bunker shot hole out after pull hooking it in there, I get what you're saying as far as it can change.
Because if you get something repeatable, right, like you said, there's like the courses that our listeners are probably going to play are courses that you're going to have probably 13 holes you can get after, even if you had a 40-yard draw. Guys, listen, I had a 40-yard draw like at one time. It was wild.
You did.
And I had to play it all the time, and sometimes it wasn't that bad, but sometimes it was. And I just, there was days I just had to accept, like, listen, this green, like, you just can't play a draw into it. Like, and you just take what you get, but you weren't going in the water, right? You weren't like in trouble, right? You were just rolling off the green or something, and so I think that's the, that would be my biggest advice for people that are really trying to work on games this year, is get something that you're confident and repeatable, even if that repeatable thing is a 3-course swing. Like if that's what it takes to stay like, in good swing form, then, work on it, because you can really use it for everything. Your pitches, your full wedge shots. So, that would be.
And to your point, you asked me, get a camera line down the line. And I was listening to this actually on PGA Tour radio the other day, and the best thing that you can do to try to improve, you can have a coach telling you this and telling you this, but one of the easiest way to self-identify is get that one swing down the line, hit 3 balls, and then watch it, pull Rory or Ty or whoever you idolize up and put it side by side. You're going to see differences of, oh, holy crap, look at that. Oh, holy crap, look like that. And that's the easiest way to tell. And to know what to work on, because what you feel in your hands and what you feel and when you turn isn't always what it looks like.
Even the pros are like this, right? Like you guys that listen, like Tiger says, like, I don't know if you watched that one with him and like, I don't know exactly who it was, but they were doing bunker shots. It might've been Finau or something. And he's like, yeah, I just feel like I'm bringing my hands to really fast or something. And then like you watch him in video and it's like, well, not really. Like that's, it doesn't really look like that, but okay, if that's how it feels, like, fine. So like to me, like everyone's feel different. And, we've talked about this, Alice. Like once you get like a swing thought in your head that's working, it may not really be what's happening. It just, it's that
that's what you're
feeling of what you
imagining.
have. But I totally agree with you, Warren. Like, I've had several coaches, and the ones that I thought really made a difference in my game were the ones that slow-moed me on video, and how horrible. I mean, it looked horrible. It looks horrible, slow motion, okay?
Sometimes it's hard to watch it.
It's sometimes hard to watch. But it is, it's so important because I he could tell me, hey, I want you to like, take your hands farther out, but I found it a lot easier to see it when someone put lines on it and says like, here, I'm going to record you, put a line here, and I'm going to have you take like 10 swings, and we're going to keep looking at this until you essentially take your hands outside the line. Like, and that feeling finally when I got one that wasn't outside the line, I was able to say, okay, like that's what it's supposed to feel like, But yeah, I think listen, there are, I don't care what sport you're in, like getting a coach or, looking or working on mechanics for golf, it's so important. I know, like Brandon, I wish he was here because I would really like to see his input right now. But, it's just like anything else, right? Like statistically speaking, if you can keep things on plane with less energy, you really will improve your game. Like, I'm sorry.
And listen, the technology's there, right? There's auto AI on. I think I was looking on Gin the other day. If somebody uses that, you can pay, and it'll put the lines up there where the plane should be and where your hands are at. Or 18 birdies, I think. I mean, obviously we're not sponsored by these things, but I'm just naming off some of the apps. They're all out there where even if you don't have somebody that can help you, you can easily just watch it, and it'll put the lines of where you need to be. But it takes time and practice. I mean, that's the hardest thing about anything, right? It's time and practice, and not everybody has that, but at least it's still something you can try to strive for.
And a lot of this stuff you can do. I got a baby coming, right? And so I've been talking to you, Warren, about it. Like, there's a lot of things you can do to really work on your game, not just in the off season, right? When it's cold and it's like -20 here in Chicago, right? But it's these are things you can do in at your house, right? You can do things in your garage, right? These are all things you can do without having to go to the course or, be in Alabama or, so those are like, to me, like if you want to replicate things the pros are doing, there are some things that probably are just not in the lifestyle characteristics for us. Like hitting 1,000 balls at the range or having your coach show up every morning and right, give you bone broth. I don't know, right? These are all things like they're probably like, cold plunges after you get off the course, like these are just things that are just now outside, like, probably outside our like real lifestyles. But there are things that aren't like looking at your swing, right? And, hitting the balls into a net in your garage or, taking some putts into a coffee mug, right? These are all things like they really will make a difference. Starting your putts online. So I think that like we could spend a whole day talking just about this stuff, but to me, like, sometimes I think people think like, well, I can't do it enough, or, the pros do it and they have different, like some, but not really. There's things.
Well, I think the biggest thing, we were talking about golf trips early, and I've heard this before, is, you go to that, you always schedule that golf trip at the end of the year. For us, it's trying to get out of the cold and go into the Carolinas or Alabama or wherever we can make it at. And, you don't get any practice in beforehand, right? You might be able to go to the rain or go to the simulators, but you're hitting off turf. Like, it's not the same thing. But the biggest thing, I can ever recommend, and what I try to do before I go every single time, is just get something in your hand, even if it's just holding it. Just trying to remember how the heck to hold the club. Even if it's just a grip. You'll forget after 4 months, right? It's cold. All you're doing is shoveling snow. Put a gripper on your shovel, and you can just use that and just to get a feel for it every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, get it in your hand because it makes a difference.
You know what I just got excited about is like on a golf trip, and anybody listening has ever been on a golf trip. Like, planning is fun, but there's not much better than like the first couple beers prior to like the first round, like the night before. You got
the
4 or 5
airport
days.
beer.
Oh, you have these like ideas that like you're gonna shoot well, everyone's
Yeah.
gonna shoot well. It's just gonna be like heaven, and like somehow nothing matters. That
Yeah.
is the best.
The euphoria of like pre-golf, right?
Everyone's
and like
happy.
even the days, everyone's happy, right? The days prior, like everything's just great. It's like nothing, no cares
Planning
in
out
the
the
world.
outfits, the shoes.
Yeah.
It's just the thing that always comes to mind is when you're driving there and you're flying there, right? Let's cancel out the beers and all the other stuff. But in your mind, you're going, yeah, we're going to go over here. Look, this hole, I'm going to hit it here. I'm going to hit it on the green. We're going to sink it, and you're all excited. In your head, you have this vision of how it's all going to go. And then, like, you're boarding the plane on the way away, and you just go, shiz, that was not what I...
That's
not what I know. But you had a blast
was.
anyways. It doesn't matter.
I try to, and I'll ask this in a question here in a second, but like the closer it gets to like round one, like hole one, I really have to like trick myself that like I'm not really that excited. I'm not like nervous or whatever, because if I don't pause that, I get to the first tee and like everybody like all of a sudden like the banter is stopped and you got to hit like that perfect tee shot because it's like the first of the trip, the pressure of that. So that's my question is...
It's like Shane Lowry on TGL. He's so nervous on the first swing. He's flung up a million drivers on his line.
So,
that's us on every golf trip.
Do you get first tee jitters, Warren? I'll ask you first.
No. I typically don't.
I can't believe that. That's
but
insane.
I mean, the reason being is there's a good chance it's duck hooking left into the woods anyways. So the more I stress about it, it ain't gonna help at all.
So what goes through your mind?
It feels foreign in your hands.
Like walking up to the tee, like you pull your driver. What goes through your mind? Like,
don't miss. Don't miss it.
Don't miss.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Just get that giant head, that club head on the ball somewhere. Even if it goes 100 yards, it's off the tee box. Get it past the red tees.
But you're not nervous.
You can go from there. Not nervous. Excited.
Okay. How about you, Lakia? First tee jitters?
I don't think they're jitters. I think they're like I get this adrenaline almost. Like I get like
I get
really,
that too.
Really like excited, but I don't like it. It doesn't feel nervous. I actually do a trick, and I'll give you my trick.
Please.
I breathe really fast on the putting green before it goes.
I know it sounds on the tee. No. I'm just imagining you setting up. You're like,
no.
How does that help?
I imagine him on the putting green doing that. Like some guy's watching him over on the putting green.
Like,
I think this guy's hyperventilating.
Yeah, I mean, I try to like turn my back so people like don't see me, but I like breathe really fast. I'm like, and then soon as I get in the cart, like I kind of like hold my breath and it kind of like drops. It feels weird. It's like it's like an elevated to a drop, and I can like really kind of feel like I'm back to. And then when I hit that tee shot, I have to do a 3/4 swing because it's full when I swing it. I have to like really rehearse.
You
doing
just think you're hitting. You think you're hitting a 3/4, but really it's full.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then because I typically find that like when you get that like, and again, it doesn't feel like that. It feels just like I'm ready to really get excited for it. I just people get quick, right? Or they get they try to fire too early, and so like I just take it away. Like just focus on a 3/4, and it'll kind of like it'll end up being a full, and so.
Ellis, you want to know why I'm really not nervous on the first tee? Because I always know I got a second ball in my pocket.
Breakfast ball.
See, like this is now, according to Golf Digest, they did a survey. 80% of golfers report first tee jitters or nervousness. So
there's definitely a little something there. I would be lying to say that there's nothing, but if you're looking on hole number 1 at the Judge where you got 20 yards to land it, definitely going to be some jitters, But,
yeah, see, I'd be the opposite for that because I would say like most people screw this up, so that actually makes me feel better that I'm not going to be like the 1 out of 4 that like he tops it.
What was it? So Ellis and I did the what was the tournament thing we used to do? It was something Am Tour by Golf Channel. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, we should talk about that. Maybe.
So,
I don't know. Maybe we should.
Like the second or third tournament, right? And we were in different places at the time, but So Ellis is watching me tee off, and I'm I'm getting ready to tee off, and there's cameras. They got
I remember
banners,
this.
right? And anyway, so I got it teed up, and and I fully whiff it. I mean, it goes maybe. It might have went
like
4
3
yards.
yards. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Totally.
it was the total, like, if you were with your buddies, they're like, okay, you got to drop your pants. Like, it's like, you got to go to the, it was not even close. But I kind of like, ever since then, which, by the way, I parred that hole. I hit a 3-wood,
true.
like 280 yards, and then I like got on and made the putt. And, but
That'll settle you down.
ever since then, I'm like, this can't be as bad as whiffing it on TV. Like it's like, like it just can't be that bad. So I don't know. I kind of just still keep that in my back pocket. It's like, well, like you've already kind of, I mean, I guess you could hosel it. It hits the tee box marker and goes behind you or something. But I mean, like, that would be really, it would be really tough to top that. So. Anyways, but that's my little story for my mess ups back.
So
in the
we'll
day.
have to ask our other cohorts if they get first tee jitters, which I kind of feel like I know what they're gonna say. So it's like pretty surprising. I get them bad. I get them so bad where even though Warren said breakfast ball, if I hit the first one, let's say like OB, where maybe I don't have to re-tee it, and then my buddy's like, well, just hit a second one. I almost don't want to because I'll probably do the same thing, and then now it's like a trend. So I might as well just get up there and take the penalty. Yeah. I just wrote a note. I think I need to ask my freaking shrink if she can come on this podcast, because I bet you my mental golf game is like one of the most tragic, like out of all.
Really?
Of us.
Yeah.
I think everybody can work on their mental golf game. I think,
right? That's why the pros
down
have
to the pros.
Counselors or whatever.
I shouldn't get so nervous though. Like that's like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like I'm naturally too worked up, and then
you gotta find something that works for you. Like
no lie.
I will say
there was
more. Go ahead.
Well, just stupid, but no lie. There was a time I think it was with Warren. We were walking the golf course. So granted, like it's harder to walk, right? Literally, like my watch is like high heart rate, like detected, and I was like lining up to a ball. It's like 140. Just. You know how like the pros, like it'll be like, let's watch Bryson hitting into the last tee at Pinehurst. His whoop band is like, his heart rate's like 110, right? Yeah, mine's like 140, and I'm hitting for triple. It's not good. It's not good.
And I will say, the more people, you have the buddy strips. We're going to keep referencing back to that, and you have, doesn't matter how many, but let's say 12 people there. If you're all 12 watching on that first tee, then there's going to be more jitters. Or if I'm on the third group to go out and everybody else has already hit, it's like I'm going to be the butt of every joke all weekend if I top this thing off the tee. And
I think the other thing too is you have to like put yourself in more positions that kind of maybe bring some of that on.
No, it's literally we could play tomorrow in the snow, and on the first tee I'd be like. You might not notice it, but it's like I start stressing about it. Like as soon as we pull up to the golf course,
we're gonna have to get a whoop. We're gonna have to do a sponsored whoop band challenge.
Well, my iWatch will tell us it's terrible. Like if everybody goes quiet, I set up to the ball, and then you go, all right, pause. Somebody go check Ellis's pulse. I guarantee it's like, and it's been like that for like 10 years. I can't stop it.
Love it. Well, good. It seems like we got a lot to look forward to this year. We got some nervous parts coming up soon. Some great
airport
places.
beers.
Airport beers. That'll be one of the next conversations of the best top 10 beers in life. Top 5 even would be a difficult one.
I think we're gonna do. Yes, like let's do like I think we're gonna do top 5 or 10 beers, like just in general. But then we're also gonna talk about best on-course golf drinks. Like,
we need to do
probably
sure.
some alcohol. Yeah,
that's a good one.
And then maybe we each bring our favorite to the episode.
Yeah, let's do that.
Absolutely. Well, to wrap it up, looking forward to a great year. Looking forward to the swing changes, the equipment changes. Hopefully, they come with some type of success. You always think it's going to be the best year ever, but hopefully we put in the work, we can get it. So I appreciate you. Aaron coming on, EVG, episode 4 in the books. Nothing but lip. Looking forward to seeing you guys next time.
Peace out. See you.